Pas de soleil, 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 pas de soleil. Pas de soleil, 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 pas de
Hello.
Hello. Now I don't know where Annie's gone.
She
She's got to
disappeared.
reconnect. And
You're back.
something went really. And you might have seen us all sitting there like silly people right at the beginning before that intro started, because it took me a couple of goes to get it to start. So sorry about that, guys. Like Nate eating his food.
And I got lost. I just
What's going on tonight? Oh.
Just threw Annie out.
Hi, Maria.
Oh, I popped.
How are you all? Hi, Marani. Hi, Veronica. Hi, Gail. Hi, Myrtle. Hi, Karen. Hi, Wendy. Hi, Tracy, who was on earlier. Fiona. Oh, dear. Too funny. Hi, Izza. So nice to have you all join us again. We're pretty excited, actually. Maybe we're a bit delirious too, because it's oh, hi, Les. You're actually Les tonight, not Leonard Player. Nice to see you as yourself. Because it's 2 weeks to go till our incredible retreat at Cedar Creek, which we're so excited about. But of course, Annie and I have been checking it, writing our list and checking it twice and doing all those things, haven't we, Annie?
We have indeed. I sent them out the itinerary so that they know what we're supposed to be doing. Mm-hmm. And if we fall off of track or shiny things distract us, they know that they can say, "You're supposed to be doing this." Okay.
Are you bringing the bell? Are you bringing the bell?
I'm bringing the biggest bell in Australia. Nobody pays any attention to me.
I don't pay any attention to that.
Not even remotely. And I've got Sophia, who's also coming, who's another bell ignorer. She's not on. So you can't hear me talking about her. But, and Wendy, who is on, who stole the bell. Like, they're just so naughty.
They really are. They really are. Now, while we're talking about Wendy, and I know she's here, so Wendy, I'm about to talk about you. Wendy left the most amazing comment on our YouTube channel last week. She said, girls, you know, and I'm paraphrasing here, this is not exactly what she said, but she said, I used the protection when I was in a situation where I wasn't too happy about the people, or I knew that the people were a bit negative around me. I used it and it works. Wait, really? Yes, it does. Yes, it does. So go, girl. So excited to hear when you guys are actually using some of the stuff that we do. Oh, look, and Gail's given a beautiful shout out to our bubble lady, Colleen, who's again behind the scenes, looking after us, putting up the comments, keeping us on track. And we love you, Cole. Mwah. All right, we need the bell. Kerrie, shut up.
Ding, ding, ding.
Shall I go and get it?
No. And surprise everyone, Nate jumped on because he can, and he just jumped in to share something with us, which is also pretty exciting, and he might want to just share that as well, and he wanted us to know about it. So he jumped on. We said, well, guess what? You can stay because we're a bit loopy tonight. You can keep us in line.
Tonight?
I will. I'll talk about it later after you get into everything, and
Right.
it's more of the topic. I don't want to sidetrack too much, but it's very exciting about somebody in the group who's pushed themselves in a way following their intuition.
Oh, it's all going to link in. We got to love that.
Good segue. Now let's talk about what we're doing.
Yep.
Kerrie, look at me.
Well, yes. I'm watching you. I'm looking at you. I'm trying to pay attention. We are doing intuition, but are you going to do the meditation first?
Maybe, yes.
Sorry, everyone.
Tonight. We're in trouble
tonight. Nate's going to lead us astray. Yeah, that's what happens.
I'm trying to hold. It's flipped today. I'm trying to hold right here to rein them in. So.
Yeah.
Many have tried, Nate. Many have tried. None
You know,
have succeeded.
would you believe that tonight Nate's the grown up in the room?
It's about time, isn't it? Okay. Let's. This is a serious business. We're not here to have fun. Stop it.
Oh, yes, we are. We're always here to have some fun.
Do you want me to do the meditation?
Yes, please. Let's all settle pedal and get into tonight's topic because it's an important one.
Who's going to rein Nate in? I'm not
Colleen.
even going to try.
Colleen,
Colleen,
in any kind of places.
Okay. The Gail, shiny things. I'm all about shiny things.
I'm shiny too.
Okay,
I'm so like hello. It's weird. Anyway, settle.
I used to say that about people, Nate, like people that were shiny. I used to say that about people. If I met people like Kerrie and you, I used to say they had the shining. So there you go. Just you sit there and quietly glow. But do it quietly. I'm just about to start my meditation.
I might be gone when you finish. I'll be here, but I won't be. All right.
Okay, go. Annie, let's go.
Okay, peeps. Can we get comfortable, please? And shut your eyes. Okay. Breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. And as you breathe out, feel your muscles all relaxing. Relax your feet, your legs, your buttocks, your lower back and your waist, your chest, your neck, your shoulders and your arms. Let your face go soft and continue breathing softly and gently. Look down at your feet and you will see a beam of green light. Step onto the beam and follow it as it stretches out in front of you with every step you take. The beam takes you higher, and as you look down, you can see the tops of the trees. You continue rising up through the clouds and up into the atmosphere. A beautiful pink light appears on your right, and you step onto it. This light is a timeline, and as you look down, you see the years passing by. The beam of light slowly takes you down to 5 years from now. Look around you. See where you are. What does it look like? What does it feel like? What does it smell like? Are there flowers, or the smell of the eucalyptus, or the salt air of the sea? What are you doing? Who's with you? Know that you are exactly where you are meant to be. I'll leave you in this space and come back for you shortly. The pink beam of light appears before you again, and you step onto it. It gently takes you back through the years to where you are now at this time. Feel the chair beneath you and your feet on the ground. And when you are ready, wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, and open your eyes. Were you in Angel Cottage, Kerrie?
I was.
I knew that.
How did you know? That's where
Because
I
I've
was.
got intuition.
And
Where
you
was I,
listened
Annie?
to it. Even better.
You were exactly where you are now.
I know.
Exactly
was
in the right place at the right time.
Exactly. And I've told you, I've seen it so many times. And as soon as you go, where are you in 5 years? I just stood there and looked around. And I just went, oh yeah, I know exactly where I am because I've seen it so many times before.
Yeah.
Mm.
That was beautiful, Annie.
Yeah.
That was lovely. It's amazing how just that, a few minutes can just also center you and just, refocus you. And yeah, lovely.
Some people are exactly where they're supposed to be right at this moment, though.
Mm.
And in 5 years, they may well still be where they are.
Mm.
But 5 years ago, I was somebody different. And 5 years down the track, we'll all be somebody different because of the experience in the next 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And even like 2 years down the track, we can be somebody completely different depending on where your head is and what you've done and how you've moved yourself forward, you know. So I just think I like being where I am now, but I know where I want to be as well. And I keep saying that I'm like, you guys know I was going to move, and it was really, really hard for me to get my head around it, because I'm actually quite happy about where I am. And then we made the decision that we're not going to move, that we're going to stay here. And I kept saying to Paul when we were talking about moving, something is holding me here. Something is keeping me here. I don't know what it is, but this move's not going to happen, because right at this moment in time, I'm supposed to be right here where I am now. It's weird. It's weird. But yeah, and I just, like I always say this, I just trust that whatever's going to happen next is just going to take me to where I need to be next. Because that's might be like water.
Yeah, that's right. And I was just thinking that it's about flowing and just going with the current, not swimming against the current. You know, that whole
and you
feeling.
see where you wash up.
Yeah.
Do you know how I talked about eucalyptus? It's really interesting. I live just down the road from Lone Pine Sanctuary, and Paul and I went to Early Beach, and as you're driving from Proserpine to Early Beach, all you can smell is eucalyptus. And I said to Paul, I said, do you smell that? And he said, what? And I said, the smell of Australia. And he said, what's that? And I said, eucalyptus. That's what Australia smells of. And he said that I had rocks in my head, because he's lived here all his life. So he didn't notice it. And then Nate, your living legend, Kylie Minogue, came home from England after having spent many years there. And they interviewed her. And the first thing she said was, when I landed, I could smell the eucalyptus and I knew I was in Australia. And I'm like, see, I told you. I told you
Trusting
that.
Kylie, trusting Kylie. That's what I say. She always comes through.
Yeah, Shelley.
You're toddling off to Mildura. That'll be a journey and a half, my darling. Our love and thoughts are with you.
Absolutely.
55 years is a long time.
Good
luck with your journey, my dear. Yeah, Karen's saying like surfing and deciding which wave to take.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, washing my clothes, love the smell as much. Yeah, exactly. That freshness about it. I know, it's so exciting, Gail, for Shelley. I mean, it is actually happening, although the trek itself is going to be a journey, but the destination is going to be a big change for everyone. So that's a good thing. Okay, guys, I'm going to jump into tonight's topic, and I'm going to be really honest with everyone tonight. Usually Annie and I just talk about everything off the top of our heads, because we work with this stuff every single day. And when we talked about, let's talk about intuition, that was because it's something that every single person is born with. Now, I understand that people talk about women's intuition, right? So I'm going to touch on that just a little bit to start with. Yes, women can have an intuition, particularly when it comes to their children, right? They get a feeling that something's not right with them, or with their own mother, or their own parents. But it's the energy connection, right? But women are not the sole bearers of that connection. Now, sometimes it's a little bit easier, because particularly, say, with your own children, or with your own mother, and I'm talking about males here as well, because for a time your energetic field was totally combined right, with each other within the womb. So that energy was actually connected, and that stays with you. When we've talked before about cord cutting or cutting cords with people. But in this instance, that connection, or the energetic connection, is always there. So it's not just women's intuition, although sometimes women are more likely to talk about it than men, but it's not an exclusive area, right? So I just wanted to put that one out there. But somewhere along the line, we just stopped trusting it. Now, children trust it. You know, they'll either like someone and smile at them, connect with them, or they'll go, oh, I don't want to go to that person. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's a bad person, although it could, but it means that their energy isn't connecting, and for them, that's not the right person to be with, or that's not where they want to be. Dogs do it. You know, they purely run on instinct. A dog will go straight away whether they like someone or they don't like someone. So you're seeing that all the time. Annie, you said before as well with Paul, you can be anywhere and the little ones, you know, especially the toddlers, just start smiling and laughing and waving at him because he's got that beautiful energy and they connect with his energy. So that's sort of that instinct of whether someone could be a good person or not. But what I wanted to touch on is the difference between fear and intuition. And before the live tonight, I thought I don't want to miss any key points here because it's something that a lot of us go, oh, I don't know if I should listen to it or whether I'm just being silly. So I actually sat here and typed up some key things because I wanted to make sure that I didn't miss out on anything. So if I'm reading a bit tonight, you'll know why. And it's because I did this just before the live. So I wanted to talk about a key thing that you can use to reconnect with your intuition. And that is to know the difference between fear and intuition, right? Because sometimes the two can be confused. So it can be easy to work out whether it's just something that you're fearful of or whether it is intuition. Because when you're in a state of fear, you feel it, right? You actually feel it in the body, and it's a fear response. And everyone's fear response can be slightly different, but it's emotionally based. So if you feel fear, it'll come through in how you personally experience it. So it could be like a feeling of that anxiety, or you just start shaking. You get really nervous and you're shaking. You could be really terrified of doing something in a situation. Or it could be really low key, like you just keep worrying about what's going to come up. So you're obsessing over it. But however that fear response comes through for you, you actually feel it in your body. So the difference here is, elevated heart rate. So I was just going to say elevated heart rate, shaky, trembling, tensing your shoulders, tensing your jaw. Like there's a whole range of actual physical body reactions when something is fear-based. So, but intuition feels different, right? It's different to that fear response. So after receiving something as an intuition, and we do talk about gut feeling, like you get a gut feeling on something. So yeah, that is a bit emotive. But the difference is when you get it, it's neutral, right? Now that's an interesting concept. So when you do get the information through, or you get the message through, in the very first instant, it's a neutral thought. Now, your response to it after getting it may be a fearful reaction to it, but as you first get it, it's neutral. So, look, I can give you a couple of examples, and I wrote some of these down. So, a couple of weeks ago, when we were talking about things happening in the universe, throwing situations at us, and we're all being tested at the moment, can we stay on this higher level of energy? And I talked about Gail and I traveling over to Annie's to go to the gathering. And out of nowhere, this guy ran out in front of my car. Now, before that happened, I got the sense, or I heard, hit the brake, right? Start braking. Now, when I got that thought, start braking, and I just started braking, it was neutral. I didn't feel anything really about it. Then he ran across the road, and then afterwards went, oh my God. Then I got the anxiety, fear, worry response, right, to it. But I listened to that first instinct and hit the brake. But you wouldn't think necessarily that anyone's going to be silly enough standing on the side of the road to actually run directly in front of your car, you know? So, but listening to that was an intuition. Hitting the brake was the intuition. It was a neutral thought initially that I just followed. It was afterwards that I got the response to it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. For me, I've always thought that we're born with 6 senses, and intuition is the 6th one. And it's that voice in your head. And the thing about that is, my feel is that you always know what you should do. Always. Always. In your gut. Veronica said it. You know what you need to do. And where it all falls apart is when the fear kicks in, or when you start to think, what if this happens? What if I upset this person? What if this? What if that? And that's where people can make the wrong decision or the wrong choice. Or sometimes their frustration gets the better of them. And they think, I'll just settle for this. And the minute you do that, it's not going to work out for you, because you're going against that gut instinct. You're going against that feeling. Now, I defy anybody who's ever been in a wrong relationship to not know that they should never have bloody went there in the first place. But
and that it's different to red flags, right?
That's
so
the challenge.
Red flags is a logical thing where you're putting logical things together. Intuition is just I don't feel that this is the right person for me or the right situation, but I'm going with it anyway. It's different.
And it's interesting. It's interesting too, from what you're talking about. When I think about intuition, and we talked about Veronica earlier, it's gut, but then you're talking about fear, and that's the heart rate. And also what Annie was talking about is in your head. So what part of your body are you actually listening to when you're making a decision? And often you'll find if it's intuition, it's you feel it down here. When it's fear, it's like, oh, and it's like you start to get into that anxiety sort of state. When you get out of that and you're up in your head, you're up here, and you actually disconnect from here. And when you actually take a step back, or you take a breath, you kind of find that the intuition, it does settle back into your stomach down here, and then you can go with whichever feels right or wrong. But it does come back down to down here.
Nate, one of my cards says, no questions in the heart, no answers in the head. You're never going to get the answer. The minute your head kicks in, you're screwed.
Yeah, that's right.
Your heart, you call it your gut. I work from my heart, always have done. And I know what I should do. And then it's that, well, sometimes it's maybe fear of opening a conversation, fear of offending somebody, fear of hurting somebody, fear of what the ramifications that you're going to do are. And sometimes it's going to ripple. It's going to cause a ripple effect, or it's going to cause a blooming tsunami. So I'll just settle. And at some point you get past that settle, and you think, if only I had listened to myself, if only I had acted on that, you know.
Hands up in chat when you've known something and then you wanted to kick yourself later because you didn't listen to yourself. You know, I think that's all of us. Right. So every single person, and look, they'll say, oh, it's like you've got some magic gift, or you could go for, say, a job interview, right? And the place looks all right. The people are polite to you. They ask nice questions. Like it all seems fine, but you walk out and you sort of go, I don't think that's the right job for me. You know, it's not an emotive thing. There were no red flags to it, but you just know. They offer you the job, but you actually refuse it because you're going, yeah, that's not right. But other people might say to you, well, why would you refuse it? It was really good money. It was a really good opportunity. Don't listen to that, right? Listen to yourself, and don't judge on what other people might think of that decision. Trust your own instinct on it, because it wasn't the right place for you at that time, right? So there's so many ways that this can apply. And listening to that. So we all have it. And it's not like people saying to you, oh, do you think you're magic and you know something that's not there, or intuition is just a psychic thing? Well, it is a psychic gift.
Yeah.
You know what? Psychic gifts aren't abnormal, they're normal. And you're born with this one, right? This is the strongest one that everybody has, and everyone can say, yep, I've experienced it at some point in time.
What Karen's got up here, I've put it back up. You get the feeling in your heart, but you don't trust yourself to call it. That's where people fall to pieces. That's where, now, if Kerrie hadn't put her foot on the brake, like what she forgot to mention was that she was doing 100 kilometers an hour on the freeway when this dopey person ran in front of her.
Yeah, it was just before that. It's as you go to start speeding up to go onto the ramp. But
she ran him over.
I would have. If I hadn't have listened to that, the consequences would have been dire. But the immediate thought was actually neutral. I wasn't emotive about it. Afterwards, I was more emotive about it, and then went, not even going there, right? I wouldn't let myself go into that fear emotion with the what ifs afterwards. But the first thought was neutral.
Myrtle, it is your own thoughts. And, you know, if I've got people that need to make a decision, when I used to work with people that had to make decisions that were not good at making decisions, they would faff around and mess around, and I'll go all around the houses until I had enough of listening to them, because patience is not one of my virtues. And I would say to them, okay, let's sort this. And I would get a coin and I would say, heads it's this, tails it's that. And I would flick the coin. And as the coin was going up in the air, they'd be going, please be heads, please be heads, please be heads. There's your decision. And if it came down tails, they'd say, can we do the best of three? And I would say, there's your decision. Stop faffing around. That's your decision. What's stopping you from moving forward with that? Because you always know what you need to do. There's never any doubt about that, Myrtle, ever.
And it is that little voice inside your head that it's the thought that just pops in, you know, out of nowhere. And we really do need to trust it and listen to it. And
can I give like a really it's a really subtle way also. The question was about whether or not you know when it's right as well. And I think the other thing is too, if you're going up against something and it's wrong, you actually get a stronger response. No, because you feel the resistance to that. So it's almost like you're pushing up against a wall. So if you're thinking about what's right, is this right for me, or should I go with this? If you're feeling like the resistance, but when you come to like a thought where it's like the right, like, you know, is this what right, or is this what I should do, or am I? It's almost like there's no wall, and almost like there's a doorway. You can actually walk through it. So if you're in a room, you're blindfolded, and you're actually trying to find this like resistance. Oh, nothing, and walking through, and that's a way. It's really subtle, but that's one way to start to build up that trust of what is intuition and what am I trusting. And when you get to the like intuition to say this is the way I should move forward, you actually find there's no resistance to it. It's very subtle, but the more you get used to it, you can walk through. But it is.
You are so right, Nate, because with intuition, you think bells should be going off in my head. My intuition should be really loud and say, no. Intuition's actually quite subtle. It's the opposite to that. It's actually quite subtle. It's like a knowing. And Annie talks about the knowing all the time. You just know, right? And it's more subtle. I just know. I don't know how I know, but I know that that's not the thing. And the thing with intuition is if I feel that way, or I've got that instinct today, that something's not the right place, the right person, right? It's going to feel like that in 5 days' time too, right? Like it's not going to change. But if I overthink it, oh yeah, no, look, I'll do it anyway, or no, I am going to take that job, and then I change my mind again, that's not intuition. That's just you overthinking things, right? And then not listening to the initial intuition. So it's like that resistance that Nate was talking about. Like, another just similar example to the one I gave about the car was, you know, if you're coming up to a crossing on the road, and even though it's right, like you've got the right of way to cross, in your mind you sort of go, oh, don't step off the curb. Don't step off the curb. And suddenly a car just comes flying around the corner or straight through, and it's sort of like, and your response is, oh, I'm glad I didn't step off the curb, but it's more neutral response to it. Versus you're about to go off the curb and in your periphery, you're seeing a car coming. So you jump back and you have that total fear, panic response to it. You know what I mean? There's a sharp difference between those two things.
I think that's also a really interesting thing about where you're actually thinking. Now, this might be a little bit hard to explain as well, but sometimes when you're overthinking, it's kind of like, where are you in your head? Sometimes you're at the back of, like, it's a really subtle thing. Sometimes you're at the back of your head, sometimes you're at your front. When we start to go and talk about, like, use your third eye, we always say go to your third eye. So you can shift where your thoughts are. And if you're in that thinking space where it's overthinking, try and just sort of see where your head is at. And if you can shift where your mind is and where your focus is, you can actually come out of the thoughts. You can shift it to where, maybe move it towards the third eye, which is a little bit more about using your intuition and getting out of that fuzz. Because so where you place, it's an energy thing. It's definitely an energy thing. Where you place your thoughts, like, and it could be even behind your head, or like, you know, when you're feeling like there's a lot going on, you can feel it on your shoulders. But when you're like, you know, you can actually feel where your energy is, with the way that your head and mind is working too. So that's a really interesting thing to try and maybe pay attention to as things are going on, or if you are overthinking things, try and shift where your head is at. It's really hard. I'm trying to explain it, but it's an energy thing.
So a way to learn to discern and know it's your intuition and not just a fear that you have is, even if you feel it in your gut, you're still going to feel neutral about it. There's not going to be a full body response necessarily to it initially. That will come after. So it's really learning to say to yourself, when I first got it, was I fairly neutral to it? And then did that feeling come afterwards? Or did I have that full body fear response, anxiety response as soon as I got that information? Right? So it's just a way to help you to discern. And if you can practice that, here you go, Annie, you're not going to believe this because you said this before. And if I don't know if people can read my notes here, right? What I wrote is, this means that you're now going with your natural flow. You're listening to that voice and paying attention to the voice or the images that you might see in your mind, and paying attention to that. You what you get about certain people. So that's, you're learning your natural style of knowing whether it's intuition or knowing if it's physical full body response, fear response to something. So now you're swimming downstream, not upstream, and you're going with the flow. I don't know if you can see that bottom line there, but honestly, that's exactly what I wrote. You'd think we were
channeling Annie.
Telepathy going on. There you go.
Can I come back to Belinda?
Absolutely.
So, what Nate was talking about earlier, there's a way to sort that as well. Now, wherever you are, like if you're at work, take yourself to the dunny. Take yourself outside. Take yourself somewhere where you're all by yourself. Okay? Ground yourself. Really, really, really important. Ground yourself. How do you ground yourself? Breathe. Breathe. The fear, the anxiety, all that blah stuff that happens, breathe. The minute you start to breathe, because once you panic or you get the anxiety, you become a shallow breather. You're not getting oxygen. Your energy's screwed all over the place. Sit and breathe. Then clear. Clear your head of everything. Like, start with a river, gently trickling through one ear and out the other. If you need a tsunami to clear your head, tsunami it. Clear out all your thoughts. Open the top of your head and let all the shit fall out the top of it. Just let it all float away until you're clear.
Yeah.
Then try to make a decision. Because once you step into that, oh my God, what ifs, unless you're clear and ground, nothing's going to make sense. That overthinking stuff, when you do that, you get analysis paralysis. And then you do.
Yeah. I know some people might know that my cat went missing about a month ago for 3 days. And I remember the morning that he went missing. So he'd only been gone for a couple of hours. And I knew that something was wrong. So you'd pick up these subtle clues here. He hadn't come back from the morning to come into whatever. And I said to my dad, should I be worried? Should I be worried? Should I be worried? But that first thought was something's wrong, or there is something wrong. But it was that, like Kerrie was saying, it was a neutral thought. Then as the day went on, he still hadn't come back. He still hadn't come back. Still hadn't come back. And then the fear stuff came in.
Anxiety.
I was in my head, and I was like, he's dead. He's dead. People are putting posts up on Facebook going, "Oh, there's snakes in the area," and I'm like, "Oh my god, he's been killed by a snake." And I was actually taking on board. I was like, if someone lost a pet, please do not put "Are there snakes in the area?" And they're trying to find the cat because it has a terrible effect on them. Yeah.
That initial thought, something's wrong with Ollie, came in as neutral. Was that right?
And also came in, just popped in, and I look back and I think, if I had followed that, if I had gone out when I gone outside to maybe have a look at him, maybe I would have found him early. He came back after 3 days. He ended up having to go to hospital. He's got a fractured pelvis. He's kept confined for another 4 weeks. It's been 8 weeks, but he did come back. But if I had listened to that gut, and all day I kept saying, should I? And I was asking people like, oh, should I be worried? Should I be worried? If I just went out, I didn't trust it. But that was the really neutral thought. I wasn't panicking about him. I was just like, oh, something's wrong. So it was just like I just knew, but I wasn't. It was then I got up here, and I was cursing the angels. I was, why are you doing this to me? Oh, you bring him back. And then I was like, I was out of control because of all the emotions that come in. But I could think back to what you were saying earlier, just going back with that gut. But in those moments after I had let all that out and I grounded myself, I did feel like he was going to come back, and then I get back into my head, and I'd be lost again. And it was the worst. I don't know how parents do it. 3 days of my 3 days of my life. But it was a real lesson in intuition and listening to your gut.
So, I mean, everyone has intuition, but we don't all listen to it, and a lot of us kick ourselves afterwards, or we think we've got intuition. We've listened to that and gone, it's led me astray. That was the wrong thing, right? But if you go back and start looking at, hang on, was my initial thought neutral and then the response to confirm it, versus was it immediately emotive, out of fear or want or desire, so there's a difference in those ones. And Gail was saying here, you think you do some listening and ignoring, you listen and ignore and listen and ignore, and then negative things happen, and then you hear and you listen. Yeah, that's right. So we go, damn, should have listened to that one. And Karen was saying, after the neutral, I get the feeling of something like anxiety. Yeah, right, because there's your confirmation, right? But the first initial thought as it pops in is usually neutral. Yeah.
And that's the thought you should act on.
100%.
Because the anxiety is what if? Mm-hmm. Karen also said that she always knows when somebody's lying, but she's worried about calling them. That's depends on how much impact the lies are having on you. Like if it's somebody who's like, nearly everybody tells lies. I used to go and see this lady here in Brisbane. Her name's Mary Ann Madden. I'm actually booked in to go for a session with her, but she's not well at the moment. And the very first thing she used to do, she used to have circles. And the very first thing she used to do was ask people how many lies they had told that week. This woman, she's a bit like your Katrina. Mary Ann's a legend. She's just, and she went all the way around the room, and like people would say, oh, 10 or 15 or 20, and somebody said 200, and once somebody said 200, the next person joined that little party and said, oh, 300, and it got to the ridiculous. And I thought, I've got no bloody idea how many lies I told. And she got to me, and I just sort of looked at her, and I said, don't know. 2. And she went back round everybody, and she said to people, the ones that said 6, 247, 84, and went all the way around the room. And she got to me, and she said, none. And I thought, that's because I'm just such a bitch. And I'm
Yeah.
really, really blunt. You know, like a spade's a spade, a shovel's a shovel, and a prick's a prick. And there's no way around that. And
Mhm.
I'm really, really good at that confrontational stuff. Like today, there was two people with me. I've got no filter, Gail. I failed filtering in Kindy. I also failed tact and diplomacy at Kindy. There were two people around me today, and both of them were having a moment. And I pulled up both of them and I went, no, no, on two separate occasions. It was like, don't give me that nonsense. That's bullshit. And people don't like it. One of them was her right there. And people don't like it. And she kind of stopped dead and looked at me. And then her bottom lip came out like a wee birdie could have sat on it. It was like,
You ran and then you go, yeah, I know. I got to stop it.
that face. And I thought, I'm calling you on it.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm dreadful. I was a counsellor.
But I say thank you, Annie. I say thank you when people are like that's one of the 4 agreements. I know that's not the topic, but you're being impeccable with your word, and that's don't fluff around stuff. Just actually say what you think, and then you don't need to worry about the line. Or I think if you pull it up, you save time down the track. But anyway, that's off. I'm just saying thank you. I've been in that situation with you too. Anyway, you've pulled me up on stuff. I'm saying now thank you.
Thank you, Nate. I don't know who's on
you saved a lot of time. You save a lot of time. It's very like with rubbish.
I did a quiz. I did a quiz to tell me what sort of reader I was. And I'd never seen this before, and I flapped my way through it. And it came up with I'm a truth teller. And I thought, yes, I bloody well am. Yes, I am. I will take that. And I will run with that. You know? And I think that's, somebody says, that's why I've got no friends.
Yeah.
Me too. Who is that? Is that Les?
No, I think that's Joe. I think that's Joe. Gail will be able to correct me on that one, I'm sure, because Gail knows everyone.
The Pellowah energy healing. Yeah, I've got no friends
Joe.
either. But do you know what does happen, Joe Pellowah? What happens is
intuition.
Is Joe. Yeah. Good intuition, Nate. Well done. What happens is that people go to people that they know are going to agree with them, or people that won't fight with them, or people that will take their side. Always. And then when the shit hits the fan 47 times, they come to me and I go, well, and then they start making excuses and I go, strike one, that's bullshit. Take responsibility. And
that's a really interesting, that's a really interesting thing. And when you're talking about intuition, if that's kind of a way of like actually lessening like your trust in it, and like you're actually losing the ability to use your intuition, because you're going to places where you know that if your intuition is saying it should be there's a problem here, but you're going to people who agree or whatever, or you're not actually doing that, you're actually losing that ability to trust it and act on it.
Yes, 100%, Nate, because what you're doing is you're getting that instinct on someone. So say this job scenario, you've gone for this interview. There's no sort of logical red flags or anything that you've seen, but you just don't feel right. You just don't get that right feeling. And then you think, well, what would everyone else say if I turned down this really good opportunity? They would think I was crazy because I knocked it back because of a gut feeling. Well, guess what? You end up in that job. You hate it. It's not where you're meant to be at all. And now you're going, why did I ever leave that other place? Even though it wasn't as much money, I was happy there. I knew what I was doing and it was a comfortable environment. Do you know what I mean?
Do you know what the next
other people's opinions?
Do you know what the next step on that one is? Well, you told me to.
Yeah, also
That's
that's
the
not
next
your
step.
accountability.
You said
everyone else's.
You said, that stuff, and that's about personal responsibility. You know, and an easier one is, see if you're in a relationship with somebody who's just an absolute dead shit. All your friends know. All your friends know, and they keep saying things like, "Why are you with this person?" And you make 52 million excuses. Oh, because it's this, and oh, because it's that. And your friends are just looking at you, shaking their heads, going, no, and in your heart, but your ego kicks in.
Yes.
And you
Yeah.
think,
But
I can
there may be no red flags, Annie, right? There
Mm.
may be no obvious red flags, but you may have a good friend and then meet their other half and then look at them and that thought pops in. They're not going to be together for that long, or they're not. But to them, they're all really happy, right? And that could be a really big event. And then you sort of go, oh, I don't want to say that, or I don't want to. And maybe you shouldn't, right? But sure enough, in 6 months or whatever, it's all gone to hell in a handbasket. But your initial instinct was right about that person and that connection straight away. You know, and it was a neutral thought. I don't think they're going to stay together. It's afterwards you might go, oh, I don't think they're the right person. And then you become emotive. But the initial thought is neutral. Yeah.
Joe, I think you're right there. I won't go to my childcare interview next week. I know I don't want to do it. The flip side of that, though, Joe, is that interviews are really good practice.
Mm.
And, you know, sometimes you need to go to learn what you don't want.
Mm.
I was offered a job by this lady, and she started at 100,000. And this was 20 years ago. I was headhunted, and she started at 100,000, and I said no. And she got it up to 110, and I said no. And she bumped it up to 120, and I said I wouldn't work for you for $1 million because I would kill you. Like, I would just kill you. I had this vision in my head of me holding her ears and banging her head on the desk, and I thought that is not good. I cannot work for you. I just can't work for you. It wouldn't work. You would hate me in 10 minutes because you want me to do things your way, and I don't like your way, and it would just be bang, you know. And I thought I just cannot. I can't do this. You know, no matter how much money you offer me, it wasn't about the money. It was like, no, I couldn't do it. I'd walk out.
So if you're wanting to use intuition and learning to apply it in your everyday life, when you ask yourself a question, should I do this or should I do that? Think of that initial response. The very first thought that comes in is usually the right one. And then you might go through the what ifs. And Annie says this all the time. Go with your first thought. Go with your first thought.
It's one of my cards. First thought's the best thought.
And then over the week, you might go, oh, no, I don't think I really should. Now I've changed my mind. Now this is your mind and that emotive stuff coming in, and it can be fear-based. A way to test is it your intuition that you're going with, or is it just a whimsical thought? Then out of the blue, just ask yourself the same question and don't let yourself think about it. Just breathe through it and see if the same neutral response comes through, right? It's a way to start learning how to discern between the two, because that first instinct or the first answer you get is going to be the same today and 7 days from now. Now, if it's about a particular person...
Oh, sorry, I've got to put this up. Shelley, I love you. I left my marriage because I saw myself stabbing you.
Good choice. Good choice, Shelley.
That's trusting your intuition right there, isn't it? That's acting on intuition. That is your the prime example of doing that. And I know, Shelley, that you do.
Yeah. So, gosh, I can't even think what I was saying now. That's too funny. But it can be where it may not play in, right, is you might meet someone today and you think, I can't trust that person today. But people do change. And you may come across them again in a couple of years' time, or you may know them really well and know that you can't totally trust what they're telling you, right? But they change over time. So in a couple of years' time, they could be a totally different person. You get a totally different feeling about them, right? So yes, your instinct can change, but it depends on the person and the situation.
Yeah. And you'll know at that time when you come back into touch with you, there'll be a different feeling, and you'll be like, "Oh, it has changed as well." And can I throw in an angelic twist here?
Sure.
If you're wanting to work with like understand intuition, and you're maybe not so filming with it, but you just want to you're not sort of trusting yourself. If you ever want to work with angels, and we've got the big four, but if you work with Archangel Haniel. You can talk to her and ask her to help you trust your intuition, give you intuition, show you what you need, encourage you to tap into that. So that's the archangel that's associated with intuition. And also just on that 111. Now that's like if you see in 111s or like we talk about signs and everything, but 111, that's the number that's also really good and associated with like intuition. So there's an angelic sort of thing that you can ask for. But if you want to use a Haniel to help you, you have to ask out loud, and you can say, dear Archangel Haniel, help me to tap into my intuition, guide my hand. Like you can journal, guide my hand to, and get her to like write out. You actually see what you write, what your intuition is, and you'll see, oh, Shelley's back. That's a big story, Shelley. Yeah. But Haniel is good for that.
Yeah.
She does actually. She does have blonde hair and a blue dress. She's beautiful. Sometimes she has a dolphin. Butterflies are associated with Haniel. She's lovely. But yes, blonde.
We had an 11-11 today, didn't we, Annie? When we were doing something, we went, yep, that's confirmation with the way to go. Yep,
I'm getting it all the time at the moment. I'm getting all sorts of 13 is another one that keeps popping in.
Can I tell you something else? Something happened to me this week. Was I was going for a walk, and I've been doing these angel walks, but I was actually walking along, and I looked at this house, and I asked for a sign, and I actually realized that I was at house 111, but there was no letterbox with 111. I was between 113 and 109. Is that right? The numbers. So I was actually, a sign was actually at the right place, but I had to read the signs. Even though I wasn't there. Does that make sense? There was no 111. But I was the signs were here's 113, here's 109, you're in 111. I was basically in it. So that's something that you can also look at too. Like, maybe there's the signs that you can't see. I don't think that's a stretch. It's happened twice.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's so true. That's so true. They're testing how observant you are, Nate, to work that one out.
Yeah, they're up. They're leveling up to see how much you pay attention to the signs. There's no sign, but I found it.
Yeah. So, guys, homework, because I love giving everybody homework.
Yes,
sorry, you were answering, Belinda. Sorry.
I was just saying, yes, you can just ask at the time. Yeah. So sorry, you go.
Yeah. So Karen had her come to her earlier in a marriage. She needs to share that story. I'm guessing she's going to share it with you, Nate. That's nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So homework, everyone. When you get just a thought on something, and then you have a reaction to it, or you're reacting to something going, oh, I don't like this situation, or that. Ask yourself, please, did I get it first neutrally and then did I react? Or did I just come from a place of fear because it's a fear I have, right? So over the next couple of weeks, over the next fortnight, till we speak to you guys again, right? That's your homework, right? I want you to practice with that. And then if you go, no, it was neutral first and the emotion came afterwards, then I want you to start trusting yourself. Please start trusting yourself, because you're going to reawaken that beautiful intuition that you have. Yeah.
Now, I've got homework for you too. Get 3 things. Now, it can be, oracle cards are good. So if you get yourself 3, doesn't matter, 3 oracle cards, 3 playing cards, 3 anything cards, and put the 3 things in the same envelopes. So you've got 3 envelopes with the 3 different cards in it. And then make the decision. Well, what you can do is you can put your hands on them, or do it with photographs. Put 3 photographs that you can't see in envelopes, and put your hand on the photographs and say it's my dad, my mum, and my brother. So shuffle them all up, put them on the table, put your hand on one and say, okay, who is this? Is it my dad, my mum, or my brother? First thought, bang.
Yeah.
Now, the other way to do this, and this works even better, is do stuff. Give yourself something to do. Okay? So say you're at work or wherever, and you've got these 3 envelopes with you, and you've got these envelopes sat beside you, and you're typing. Type, or you're on the phone, whatever. Yeah, any kind of cards. Universe Amaze Me, oracle cards. They're nice. Thank you for I was going to do that anyway, but you beat
It
me.
wasn't me, I promise. I didn't put her up to that.
So if you're typing, put your hand on the envelopes and don't think. Just put your hand on the envelope and say, Dad, and then look. Because if you don't have, we give people shit to do when we're working with them. Because see, when they're working with their hands and they're doing stuff, they're not in their head. So if you're completely distracted and then just bang your hand down and say, Dad, or bang your hand down and say, Mum, and then look. Don't think, just hand down, and whoever it is, that's intuition.
Yeah, it is. And also you're stepping into a bit of energy and psychometry. But yes, it is. But
Kerrie, with your energy. With
It's
energy and psychometry and tarot, it's all intuition.
all the same. So
They're just
in fact,
tools.
intuition is the basis of every other Claire gift, right? It's just the basis of it. So, you know, every other Claire gift sort of comes off it. And that's why it's good to work with this one. And guys, we're not trying to be mean to give you homework. The reason why we try and give you homework and we encourage you to do it is because we can sit here and talk about the topics and you relate, but if you don't do anything with it, then you're not going to grow and trust it, and you're going to stay in that same space. So we try and give you something to do and something to practice with this so that you can integrate it into your day-to-day life because it becomes second nature. Now, we've got a couple of shout-outs to do as well. The beautiful Shelley, who we've spoken to tonight, thank you. You went in to buy me a coffee and bought a yearly membership in there. So thank you for being our Blue Chakra member. So thank you for that. And we also had another person that bought us coffees as well, and we want to thank them as well. But it came through to me as someone bought you a coffee, and the comment on it was a beautiful meditation. Thank you. And that was on the 21st. So whoever that was, thank you. We appreciate you. You know, like we don't push this too much, but everything that comes in through that goes to help pay for the streaming platform so that we can, you know, helps us out a great deal. So big shout out and thank you to those two people. We also have someone who has been with us for, oh gosh, probably a couple of years now, that published her book. And we've sat here, stop procrastinating. The cards kept saying it, stop overthinking. And she's finally published it. So congratulations to Esther on that.
And it looks beautiful.
So that's so really, really exciting. Yeah. And if you're wanting to know more about
Angel
that,
Whispers on Amazon, it's called. Yeah.
Yes. And all about it, I shared that in the Harmony for Tranquility and Celtic Tarot chat group. So you can see her post about it there. Super, super exciting. And Nate, this might be the perfect time for the shout out.
Yeah. So I just want to give a big shout out to, I'm not sure if it's online tonight, but Ray has courageously recorded a meditation that she's let me put some music to, and it's now online on YouTube. And it's a beautiful meditation. She's really pushed herself with doing this, but I just really wanted to give a shout out. Ray Shoebox. I should have said meditation. Ray Shoebox. You know, it's a really great meditation if you want to let go of stuff, heal and release. And it's just beautiful. There's some beautiful angels in there as well that come and help you. But I just wanted to give her a shout out because it was a big thing for her to do that. And and she's probably going to hate me for even mentioning that here, but I just think it's such a really good thing when people do step out of the box and actually push themselves in ways that they, just it's not just step back and be passive and actually get into it. And she's got so much to offer. So I hope she does some more. And the Shoebox meditation, give her a shout out. The link's in there.
Yeah. Gosh, we're so proud of you guys. You know, we've got such a beautiful, talented group of people sharing their journeys, sharing their insights. And we just adore all of you so much.
Oh, yes. Sorry. And Gail is now a
Gail.
Humana practitioner. She just graduated today. How could I forget that, Gail? Just because I do know why, because she's now a competition. No, that's just kidding. It's a really, 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 really wonderful. My rates are cheaper. No, kidding. No, it's a really lovely new modality.
Okay, let's just work this out for a second. Nate is in Sydney, so all of our Sydney viewers, right? All of our Sydney viewers, contact Nate.
You know what you're doing now? Who's in Sydney?
Gail is in Brisbane. If you're in any other state, take your choice.
No, it's all good. It's all good. It's a really lovely. If you want to increase your intuition, it actually activates 8, 9, 10th, 11, 12 chakras. We normally work with chakras 1 to 7, and Humana activates these ones. So this is a great segue into tapping into those psychic skills. Intuition would be enhanced because it actually helps that. There's 30 minutes and 60-minute sessions available. It's incredible.
Amazing is what it is.
And we'll also be teaching it from next year. So.
Yeah, which is awesome. And a little bit of a teaser from Annie and I, and this is a watch this space. And those attending our retreat will know about this earlier. But we have something really exciting to share with you next live stream in a fortnight's time. So we'll be sharing a whole lot of goodies and interesting things with you in a fortnight's time. Those coming to our retreat will learn about all of this a little bit earlier. So there's a teaser. Make sure you're here with us in a fortnight.
Oh, and tomorrow I'll do my monthly tarot reading because I've been so busy having the time. So I better get on with it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, are we going to pull one card each? Nate, have you got cards?
I have.
Pull a card, Nate.
Go.
So the card I built is the spirit relationships card, and I don't know if you can see the first word. Please come up because my camera's playing up. Is it there? Anyway, it's intuition. It's intuition, connection, signs, inspiration. And it's got a picture of the third eye, intuition, and I also got wise decision. So those are the two cards, but intuition, wise decision. So I guess that will help you with your homework this week.
Yes. Well, you'll make a wise decision if you follow your intuition.
Yes, that's it.
See how this works? Annie, which cards are you using tonight? Are you using... What's the other side of that? Is it ours?
No.
Oh. Look, we're not very good. Maybe I should pull one of ours too.
This one, you go ahead. Mine are God knows where.
They all just fell on the floor. Did you hear that?
I'll pick one up.
It's all right. This is the one that fell onto my hand as the rest fell on the floor. I've got a 52 card pickup. Go on, Annie.
This is about totality. It's about trust. If you see, I've got people on a trapeze, and it's trust that the universe will catch you. It's all around trusting yourself and trusting your bloody intuition. Thank you.
Okay, so these are the Angel Feathers, Angel Oracle cards. And I'm laughing, Annie, because you should have picked this one anyway, because it says, trust the process.
That's one of mine.
And this one is the cards that you did, right?
Yeah.
So, they're saying that's why it fell out. That one fell on my hand. All the rest are on the floor. So there you go. But the one that I did pick is I decided, or I listened to my intuition tonight, and my intuition said, grab out the Abraham Hicks Wellbeing card. So for those of you who know Abraham Hicks, she's really good with law of attraction work. But the card that I drew was this one here, if you can read that. Every emotion I feel, move my finger. Every emotion I feel is guidance.
Right. So there you go. They're all coming out. Guidance from my inner being. Okay. So because my inner being offers a strong and steady vibrational signal, I can always feel my allowance or resistance to that signal. The better I feel, the more aligned I am. The worse I feel, the more out of alignment I am. As I reach for good feeling emotions, I am in alignment with the signal of my source. So isn't that what we're talking? Nate even said that about feeling that push, that resistance. So once again, our beautiful guides and angels and cards are coming through to validate everything that we've talked about tonight.
So thank you, everybody, for being with us. It's a pleasure, as always.
Mm-hmm.
We absolutely love having you here. We will sit and talk to ourselves, but it's so much nicer when you're all talking to each other. It's just it's just lovely. So we will see you in 2 weeks. Now, in 2 weeks, we're going to be brain dead again. So it's going to be another hysterical. We're coming off the back of our retreat. So the retreat finishes on Sunday around 3 o'clock, and then we've got to drive home, and then you lot get us your poor wee things.
Yes. Yes. Well, the retreat will finish a little bit earlier for everyone else, but we will still be there for a little while.
We'll be there till about 3 o'clock. So we'll see you all in a fortnight. Have a wonderful couple of weeks. Do your homework.
Yes, and to everyone coming to the retreat, we cannot wait to see you there. We are so excited.
Yes,
have you all face to face. It's going to be lots of fun.
It will be wonderful. Off you pop with love and light.
Okay. Good night, everybody.
See you at the retreat.
Darlings, we'll see you. We love you.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thanks
Kerrie.
for dropping in, Nate, and thanks,
No
Carl.
worries. Bye.
Kerrie, press the button.
Bye.